Good evening, Mr. Deepak Kumar, and welcome to our IPF exclusive online video session. From our IPF team, I will welcome you for this interview.
Good evening, Rakesh. Thanks for having me today with you. It's a pleasure.
So, Mr. Kumar, to begin with, can you just brief us about Mac marketing and how it is serving the Indian customers?
Okay, so to give you a brief overview of Mac Marketing Corporation, this was started in the year 1987 by my parents, Mr. M.K. Kumar and Mrs. Ritu Kumar. And primarily the goal was, to bridge a gap between the final customer and the suppliers. So we primarily deal with overseas suppliers, and this is what we've been doing since 1987. So back in those days, there was no internet, there was no emails. It was just the age-old, fax and just the telephone and telex. That was all what we had, and this was causing a problem to identify the potential customers and for the suppliers, in India. So that is why we came in, and that's why we started this organization way back as a goal to identify the genuine suppliers and the not so genuine ones. So that is how we have been made, and we are still continuing that fact till now. And customers come back to us again and again because of this trust which we have created over the period of time. And yes, I mean, if you speak about the different product lines we have, I mean, it is starting from zero point 0.6 mm ID, the small miniature bearings, what you have, they're really the small zero point 0.6 mm ID, up to 7 to 10 meter large dia slew bearings, which are used in very heavy engineering like stacker reclaimers, steel plants. So we have a huge variety of a package what we have to offer for the industry. So you have from heavy engineering to steel plants to cement plants to machine tools to aerospace, defense, and space. So I will be discussing more about it later if you like, about the various industries and our success stories which we have been giving. So that's a brief overview of Mac Marketing Corporation. And yeah, that's how we've been doing all these years in India.
So bearings play a very big role in any kind of a machineries that operate. So why the selection of a right bearing is so important for the end user industry?
That's very well asked, Rakesh. That is, in fact, one of the questions which is something which everyone should understand, that selection of the right bearing is most importantly important in this scenario. Because I get many customers asking, oh, can you supply this bearing? I'm looking for this part number, and that's it. But they don't understand as to why are the bearings not selected well and why they are premature failures. So once we identify those markets and those kind of requirements, which we are always doing to help our customers, that selection criteria will help the industry grow and prosper the way the international markets are doing. So selection plays a very important role in avoiding breakdown of the machines. And when machines are down, they need to have overall to be done. You need to have stock ready, and to ensure that everything is ready, and you just have to put the bearings and they are going. But nobody wants to really understand why are they failing. So selection of the bearings is the utmost and basic requirement of the bearing industry, which is still lagging behind with some customers, which we still try to educate them and guide them that, look, don't just buy something, tell us what you need. And that's where we come in and guide the industry. So selection, as you rightly said, that is one of the most important things to focus on in the bearing industry. Very, very important, Rakesh. It's a good question.
So, so what are according to you, what are the say two three things important while selecting the bearings that they should look into?
A lot of things are required for the selection of bearings. For example, we need to know the main application, we need to know the temperatures, we need to know the load parameters, the life cycles, and whether or not there is any chance or possibility of lubricating the bearings or having a maintenance of the bearing. Like, for example, you are in a mining and mineral industry where you have those big, huge stacker reclaimers, and there is very less chance of errors where you can, make a mistake, because the entire production line is waiting for this huge machine to deliver the minerals to the plant, to the steel plant, where then they will process the steel. So this is very, very important for us. So with the loads, the application, And all that is very important. We also ask customers what is the life of the bearing you are looking for, so that we could redesign the bearing to customize to suit your application. Because we are here to help the customer get what he wants, not like a supermarket where you just go and pick up stuff like, okay, I'm picking up what is there in the market. We are here to understand their needs and guide them. So these are the very, very important parameters to consider when we select a right bearing.
So how is the market for bearing at present, and which end user industries are driving the demand for your products?
Okay, the market for bearings, Rakesh, is quite diversified. I mean, as of now, even in India and international markets, there is a huge demand for bearings. I mean, everything which rolls requires a bearing. That is the heart of the machine. The bearings are the main, the focal point, what you could say, in the industry. So, what this is really required is that we understand the requirements, and the diversified is from small applications like standard machine tools to bigger bearings for the steel plants, for the mining and minerals, for the aviation industry, for deep space applications which we are currently doing, for the rocket launchers, for outer space, for the space program, for the aerospace. So it's very diversified. And as far as Mac Marketing is concerned, we are focused in almost every industry where we set our roles on, like in steel plants, you have different failures as premature failure, as I said earlier. High temperature causes the bearings to fail earlier. So we have high temperature greases, we have different types of real-time measurements which we could offer. So it's quite diversified, Rakesh, right now. It's quite diversified, especially in India. It's one of the biggest bearing hubs now in the world because of its population and also because of the geography. We have lots to offer the whole world, in fact, competing with China. So yeah, it's quite good.
So what I can understand from your discussion is you just don't offer product, you offer solution to your customers. If that assessment is right, I mean.
Absolutely right, Rakesh. Absolutely right. That is what we have been doing, and that's what is the really core selling point of our company. The major role play is to understand what the customer needs, so we don't go and just sell or market something just what we have. We always first understand: is there something I can do for you? Because we know the customers will not change to a new brand just on price. They want something better and much more efficient than what they are using. So yes, we definitely help the customers, and that's a free service we do, because if the customer buys from us, it's okay. But if they don't buy, we're here to give them engineering solutions, uh, absolutely with the designers, by consulting them overseas. So it's really a real-time effort for the country.
So are you seeing a pickup in demand in the quarter 4 of last year and the first quarter of this year?
Yes, yes, we are seeing a pickup. There is definitely a demand rise. I mean, unfortunately, the pandemic, stopped operations, and everybody was in distress, and nobody knew what's happening. It was very quiet. I mean, the industry had really shut down, and when the time came to revive, uh, we saw the second wave coming in, and the second wave was even more deadlier than the first. So now we see that the markets are waiting to open. In fact, they have opened up now. We see a tremendous response as of now, and we have flooded with requests. Primarily why this is happening is people were curtailing their costs, and they were not wanting to spend money on the projects because they didn't know what would happen, whether the market would sustain, and whether they should spend on overheads, and so on. So they curtail their expenditures. So right now their markets have opened up. The order books right now are going full because everyone has opened up now, and they all want to do the business which they have been waiting. So yes, it is very promising, I would say, and it's still going to grow. It will pick up sooner or later.
And how about logistics in terms of your supplies from your parent company or your partners, technology partners? Is that smooth enough now?
Yes, yes, yes. We offer two different channels of air freight and sea freight, and let the customer choose whichever is comfortable. No doubt, there are some protocols after COVID has come, but everything is as usual. There could be some delays sometimes in getting the logistics right, but everything is planned well in advance, and so that there is smooth transition for the customer, and he doesn't have to face any troubles in shipments or logistics delays in whatever manner. So yes, it is very smooth from the overseas suppliers now.
So as a supplier of high quality bearings, what do you bring to the table for the customer You already touched upon some points. I would appreciate if you can elaborate more on that.
Okay. So, Rakesh, that's another very good question, which we are really focused on in our company, Mac Marketing. So, when customers come to us, they understand that Mac has something to offer, something really different, something really special. I'd like to give you an example. We are currently working on the space program for the Gaganyaan, for the human flight mission, and before that we have been supplying for the Chandrayaan, for the moon mission, and also mission to Mars for the Indian space program for ISRO. So in this type of customers, they are really going into the depth of the raw materials. For example, I have a customer who wants to know, okay, what is the microgranular structure of the steel which is going to be used in producing these parts? So they would like to see the chemical analysis, the strengths, the mechanical properties of the raw material before we start production. So I mean, India is becoming very quality conscious now, especially in these critical segments wherein you have launch vehicles and you have satellites being put in outer space. So our customers primarily ask us these, and we are very delighted and happy to answer their questions. So this is something different, and this is what we do every day. While it's a challenge for many companies who work like us, but for us it's day in and day out. We answer all the questions, we come back with documentation, certifications, and give the customer what he's asking. If he's not happy with something, then we say, okay, let us get back to you and we will give you what you need. We will never compromise on quality. So that's something different what we bring on the table for our customers in India. And we have made a reputation for more than 35 to almost 40 years now in the industry. So that's one of our strengths in the company.
Okay. So what are the key challenges facing SMEs like Mac Marketing at present?
Okay. Well, I would say, in short, I tell my clients and my office colleagues and everyone that challenging times bring in new opportunities. So the opportunities are the ones which you need to grab. In day-to-day life, everyone is so busy and not understanding, okay, what can I do new, what can I do next? Everybody's just busy in their regular routine and all. But when you have a challenge in life, in the industry, what we face right now, the ups and downs, we begin to realize as to what are the new opportunities which could make the business grow. So this is what we as SMEs understand, and we at Mac Marketing Corporation are thriving for, that make this challenging to understand as to what are the new markets which have opened up during the pandemic, and what have gone down. Understand those venues and try to focus on those, so that you have a profit portfolio ahead of you, and not just think that, okay, the market is down, I don't know what to do, and not like that. So always try and grab those new opportunities. So even if it's a challenging time, this too shall pass, and we'll all be back on track with better and wonderful opportunities and new applications. That's what I always say.
So during this pandemic period, government has launched multiple initiatives for MSMEs to ensure that the businesses are smooth and without problem. Out of that, one of the initiatives was also the Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is promoting production, domestic manufacturing industry. So are you seeing the effect of these initiatives on ground with respect to MSMEs and MSMEs like you? That's one. And other thing is, what else, what more are your expectations from the government?
Okay. As we all know, Make in India is no doubt a wonderful initiative by the government, and it's really liked by all to ensure that India is self-reliant and not focused on imports using the foreign exchange of the country. But Rakesh, there are definitely some pitfalls in this which I would like to outline. That on one side you are trying to encourage the locals to produce something which is not been done in the past. You're giving them the encouragement, yes, very good. But to be honest, in the industry, like if I would like to go and buy some equipment which would cost, for example, maybe 30, 40, 50 lakhs of equipment, I need to have some kind of credibility with these companies. So in India right now, for these special parts, if you say, like, for example, aerospace space or any industry in the cement or steel plant, if somebody would like to invest that kind of money, they would like to have credentials, they would like to have, some kind of legacy as to what we can do in terms of what feedback we have. Now that is not available with the Indian suppliers, unfortunately, because they are trying to make something new and they have not ventured out. So the Make in India will give a boost to the India industry, but on the long term, these small companies who are trying to help the country grow with this kind of product line, they are going to get repeat orders only after some time, because the customer has to try them out, test them out. They have spent a lot of money in trying something new made by India and it's not been tested. So these small timers or medium scale industries have to do a lot of investment, to make this kind of products available in the country. So the challenges these companies would be faced is that they will not get the returns immediately. It will be after 5 years, after 10 years. So if the government can, give some leverage in terms of some taxation policies for the Make in India initiation people who are trying to, make the country self-reliant, and give them a time scale of, not to, pressurize them, because to make a simple product, you need to spend sometimes crores of rupees in infrastructure, in machinery. So where is the funds for all that? And the order values are small because initially nobody will burn their fingers in a new supplier. So that is where, if the country does something in the taxation policy to encourage the upcoming new entrepreneurs, or the SMEs, that would definitely help the country be much more self-reliant and get the confidence that, yes, if I do something for the country, I will not be penalized or I will not be taxed so much that I go in losses, because the repeat orders would take time. It will not come again so fast. That is one thing. So that is, my perspective. If the country can, help these small timers, otherwise the excitement was there. Yes, we will do it in India. Yes, we will make it, and everybody was all excited and they all tried. But when the time came for real results, they realized, okay, the customers are not giving us orders as what we thought, because they say, I need to first get a trial. I need to try a product. Give me some time, and then I will give you more business. So that's where then the whole excitement fizzled out. No doubt it's still there, but let's hope the government can do something for the country in that sector. Yeah.
So what are the emerging trends in the bearing industries at present?
Okay. Well, emerging trends right now is seeing the current pandemic. We all have learned from our mistakes as to what went wrong, how the industry should have run, and we got some time to really think of how the businesses are run, and we got some time for ourselves to understand. So the emerging trends right now is to have bearings which are self-lubricating, which require less maintenance, and also which have got longer life as expected, and also which works as per the application need. So I come back to my earlier statement, which I said that it's very important to select the right bearing, as rightly you asked. So if you don't select the right bearing, you will have premature failures. So if you are not understanding what you need, then it's difficult. Many customers come to us and say, I don't know what I need, but I need this bearing. That's it. So that's where we come into play. So the trends right now is to, give something which is self-reliant, having a better, shelf life, less of lubrication, less of maintenance, so that one can focus on production, one can focus on more output rather than, just trying to manage and repair the stuff, what they have in their factories. So that's the trend. And not to forget automation. Automation is the key for the future. And also it is, since many years. And as a matter of fact, it is the upcoming things people are looking for. And yes, it's going to help a lot. So that is also another trend which we see is rising. People are going more into automation industries. So that is what the trend is. So let's hope this keeps up.
So you already touched upon automation, and how automation is uh, helping generate more demand for bearings. Could you please throw some light on this aspect?
Okay, automation has actually been there in existence since a long time. But one never focused on its benefits until recently in the last decade. It was quite requirement. As a matter of fact, we are one of the major suppliers for a lot of automation assembly lines for the automotive industry as well. And we have key customers from overseas who have plants in India making these automotives, and we are proudly serving the subcontractors and supplying our bearings to the major assembly lines. So yeah, coming back to your point, it definitely is going to help in a long way. Like when I visited some of the factories overseas, and I could notice that there was just 1 or 2 people in the entire assembly line. He just had to press a button, and he had to go home. And then once he comes back, and then the bearings are ready. So I mean, he had nothing to do but just to have the quality check at the last moment. Everything is fine. So in India, if that is also adopted in a way, then automation will definitely reduce the lead time and will ensure consistency in quality, in workmanship. And of course, labor would not be that much required, but there is enough job opportunities for everyone in spite of the automation. But that would have and help consistency in quality for the industry. So yes, automation is the key for the future as well.
So my question was, will increase in automation lead to more demand for bearings?
In a way, yes. In a way, yes. Automation will partly increase the demand. Not, I would not say exponentially. It would not increase it that much, because if you have automation, you have surplus. You have too much of outputs. Everything is lying on stock, and if the industry doesn't demand that much of a quantity, then the stocks just lie. They just sit. Then that starts reducing your profits and your margins. So it definitely would be helping in a marginal way. But if there's no automation, then it's difficult. Like for example, we have the pharmaceutical lines, we have the paper industries, we have the bottling plants. They all use automation. But without that, it's difficult to have it gets more expensive to have manual labor everywhere. You have a plant, invest in it, and it just press the button and it goes on. That helps the industry in a way, but the demand definitely is going to be generated in a much positive manner, not in a negative way.
So finally, what are your growth plans for 2022, 2021, 22, and what kind of new opportunities are you looking for growth?
So we as a company at Mac Marketing, have learned that the key of success is to identify niche markets, and that's where we can grow. So what we do is we have a plan for segmenting the market into various portfolios, and try and see which markets are up and which markets are down, which have closed during the pandemic and which need help to rise. We're trying to identify those trends and those industries which need our support. It's no point going and knocking every single door and just trying to see if they have a requirement or they need help. First, identify those markets, focus on them, concentrate on those requirements, and then we can grow. So it's primarily a win-win situation for the customer and for us, because sometimes one feels that, oh, I have seen it all, I have got the entire market in my hand. But no, that's wrong. One must always remember, if one wants to grow, they have to explore new avenues, new segments, and new portfolios. And that's where we can be powerful in the industry. We can do much better together, for us as well as for the nation. So yeah, that is what is the growth plans, to focus on markets which need help. And I'm sure we will be much, much better in the coming months.
Thank you, Mr. Deepak Kumar, for your taking time out of your busy schedule and sharing your thoughts on the bearings industry and as well as Mac Marketing.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Rakesh. Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.